Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we're going to be looking at a Kershaw Emerson knife. But first, I just want to say to the guys over at Deciduous Media, this hat came from them. I want to apologize. I talked to you guys several weeks ago, told you I'd give you a shout out on the channel, and I have been wearing your hat, but I completely spaced, guys. I'm sorry. Anyhow, Deciduous Media, they're a local group to me that are doing some really cool hunting videos. And you're going to want to check them out. I'll put a link to them in the description. The last couple of 3 videos they've done have just been outstanding. And you're probably going to want to watch them. I know that I definitely like them. And Brandon, I am sorry for not getting this out there sooner. But there you go, guys. Get over there and watch what Brandon and his guys are doing. It's going to be really cool. Anyhow, today we have a Kershaw Emerson CQC-4KXL. It's model 6055 in Kershaw's line that we're going to look at. So you guys know the drill. Why don't you come on in here a little closer and we'll see what this knife's about. Getting a closer look at the Kershaw Emerson CQC-4KXL. That's quite the long name, isn't it, guys? Anyhow, on this side we have a full G10 scale. It's somewhat grippy, but not super grippy like some G10 that you find. And we have our hardware. We have a flat blade screw here and 3 Phillips screws here. And that's part of the Emerson philosophy of being able to work on your knife with tools generally available for anything else that might be around you. And we also have 3 drilled and threaded holes here for the pocket clip. Now this is a tip up only, and that is to facilitate the use of the Emerson wave opener. So there is no tip down carry with this knife, but tip up either way. As we roll the knife around to the back side, we have some very light jimping here, have our back spacer, and we can see that behind the G10 we have a somewhat thick stainless steel liner. And it's not skeletonized, so this knife, whenever we get around to it, it comes in fairly heavy. On the other side we have our stainless steel scale. Rolling around to the stainless side, we've got our non-stabilized frame lock and Emerson pocket clip with our nice little Emerson logo there. And we didn't mention it on the other side, but we do have a lanyard hole. It's not a real big one, but it's big enough to get some 550 through, I believe. And we also have our thumb disc. And because of the wave opener, this little hook right here, Emerson knives use a thumb disc so that you don't have a thumb stud or something else in the way. The disc is thinner and smaller. Then as we roll on around to the top, you can see we've got our nice, fairly thick blade. It's a 0.12 thick, and the top of our thumb stud. And this knife is centered well. If you didn't see my previous video, I have received 3 new versions of this knife. None of them were centered worth a flip. I sent one back to the retailer, got another one, it was just as bad, sent that one to Kershaw. I'm pretty sure they didn't do anything to it, but they sent it back to me. I called Kershaw, and then they sent me another new one, which was better, but still not very good. So if you end up with one of these and you need to fix the blade centering, I have a video on how to do that, and I'll put it up there under the little eye. Anyhow, one note, whenever I first got these knives, I kept trying to hit the thumb stud from under here. Get that up here where you can see it, going straight up on it. The detent on these knives is not terribly strong, but where the thumb disc is placed, it is hard to go straight up and kind of like you would a spider co by putting your thumb in the spider hole. What I have recently learned is if you get a hold of the back side of this, or front side, however you want to say it, but get behind it with your thumb and push that way instead of pushing up, push kind of at an angle, the knife opens fairly well. In fact, a little bit of wrist action and the knife opens up nice and quickly. Whenever we open the knife, we have a total length of 9 inches, a blade length of 3.9 inches, and a cutting edge of about 3.83, and a blade thickness of a fairly hardy 0.12. And for weight, I decided to get the scale out and let you guys see this. We're at just shy of 6 ounces. Kershaw says 6.1. I get 5.98. That's fairly close. So whenever we get in here a little closer and start looking at our blade, we have a satin finish flat, a stone washed grind, and then of course our edge. Our primary bevel here is hollow ground, and it does get fairly thin behind the edge. Makes it a fairly decent slicer for being a large tactical knife, and I rather like the blade design. It's just a simple, you could call it a drop point or a spear point. I would say it kind of tends to be more a spear point, but because of the way it's ground, some people are going to call it a drop point, and that's fine too. The point of it is it makes a pretty good utility knife. It's not lean too far to the tactical end and will do your utility task just fine, and gives you plenty of sharp point up there if you do need to employ it in a tactical situation. Whenever you wrap your hand around this beast, that wave opener gives you a little bit of jimping. The jimping is not very aggressive though, it's more just the curvature there, which gives you a place for your thumb to rest. And works well in your standard grip here. Get it pinched. Works pretty well there too. Pivot screws are there to get under your thumb and index finger. And you got that G10 here. Keep a hold of you. And I find myself getting a hold of them like this quite often. And there's plenty of blade, plenty of flat there, and you've got that thumb disc to help keep you in place. This is more what this thing's designed for, and whenever you get it around like this, it's there. You got plenty of gripping surface. You got a place to put your thumb. It's definitely set up for this. So we should probably talk about this goofy little hook here on the blade. That goofy little hook, what it's designed to do is whenever you slide this thing down in your pocket, and this is laying blade back against the back of your pocket, against that rear pocket seam, whenever you pull this thing up out of your pocket, if you put a little bit of pressure backward, this hook catches the back of your pocket and pulls the blade open as you pull it out of your pocket. And this works pretty well. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Let you get one more good look at this. Remember that blade centering, you want to look at one of these if you get one. I have yet to hear from Kershaw on whether they have corrected their issues with blade centering on this particular model. So if you go to buy one, you want to make sure that you get it in your hands. or buy it from someplace that returning it's easy. Alright guys, so now that we've taken a close look at one of these things, what do I think about them? The 4KXL, I think, is a really good effort on Kershaw and Emerson's part. However, unless they fix that issue with the washers, I can't suggest the knife. It's just not right to have a $35 knife with Chinese steel in it that I have to go and get another set of washers to fix. You know, Kershaw hasn't gotten back to me yet. They may have fixed the issue, and if they have, I'll annotate that. But as it stands right now, as much as I like the knife, I can't in good faith tell you, yes, go buy one of these things, you're going to like it, because it's not right. The knife is not right. So for now, it's not exactly getting a thumbs down, because once I got the knife fixed, I like it. I'm not a huge fan of the wave opener, but yeah, of course it fails there. But get your hand on it right, and it flips really, really well. And it's a big, hard use knife. And if you take care of this 8CR14 MOV, and that we normally talk about 8CR13 MOV in the Kershaw knives, and that 13 to 14, what that means is there's a little more chromium in this blade than there is in the 8CR13. The first number in that, the 8CR series, or the CR MOV series, the first number is an indication of carbon content, then you have CR chromium, and the second number is the indication for your chromium content. So a little more chromium means it's going to be a little more stain resistant and probably a little bit harder than 8CR13. Probably negligible. But I've messed with these blades now since December, and they seem to do alright. They're not the greatest at edge holding, but none of these lower end steels are anything close to S30V or anything like that. So, you know, they do alright, and if you're willing to maintain them with a strop and maybe a sharp maker or something, they do fine. So, at the end of the day, no, I can't tell you to go buy one. But if it's something you really, really want, and you're willing to go through the hassle of fixing it, then sure, why not? And like I said, if Kershaw lets me know that they have taken care of the problem, I will annotate this in this video and in the video on fixing the CQC-4KXL. But for now, just can't do it. Now, with the ways I've fixed them, and I'll annotate that video so you can see where it's at, I have two knives that work pretty well, and I like them. I don't carry them a lot because they are kind of big, they're kind of heavy, and you know, that's just not an everyday thing for me. For some of you it may be, and that's fine. The wave openers on these, that's a whole issue unto itself, and I'll try to encapsulate that. And the wave opener is not the general way to open that knife. Mr. Emerson himself has even said that in one of the interviews that I have seen with him. It works well if you train yourself with it, but it's not like a spider hole or a flipper or a speed safe or a assisted opening knife of some other sort, and it's definitely not like an automatic. It is quicker than all of those if you train yourself. However, it's my feeling that unless you're going to put in the time and training and the worn out jeans that are going to come along with that, or tactical pants or fatigues or BDUs or ACUs or whatever you're wearing, I don't think that the wave feature is going to be a 100% positive thing for most people. There are a few of you out there I'm sure it'll work great for. For me, however, I'm not going to let that little hook tear up $60 and $80 jeans or more expensive slacks or tactical pants. So it's not the main opening feature of the knife. The main opening feature of the knife is the thumb disc, and with the thumb disc and a little flick, knife opens great. So that's my opinion on the wave opener, and that's my opinion. Doesn't matter who makes the knife. So take that as you will, but that's my opinion on it. And with that, guys, like, share, subscribe, stick around. We got a lot more coming. I finally got most of the parts in, so we'll be able to shoot that cannon off here pretty soon. And you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.